Good morning, this is Esther Lawson with God's Grace Garden, and today we're going to be looking at the compost tea and see what is done to the garden, and we're going to add some more after that later on. Since the garden has been started on, I think it was May the 21st, today is July the 31st. It's almost August, not quite August yet, but I think that's a good time to start. But we composed the compost tea, and it's a nice little mixture of, we have chicken manure, molasses, and we also have compost that I've been making in the compost pile back there, as well as some cornmeal and kept meal. So let's go ahead and take a look at it and see how it's doing. So as you can see here, the bubbles are coming up because I have the aerator in here, and it's basically putting air into the water to keep it circulated, and those are the bubbles, and that kind of lets you know that it's done. Just as if you're brewing regular tea at home, it has that little foam on the top, so that's a good indicator that the tea is looking quite well, and it's coming along just fine. So what I did yesterday is I added, it's been brewing since Monday, and now it's Wednesday. But I added some yesterday, and you can do that after 24 hours of brewing. You can use it. But now we're at around about 36, almost to 48 hours, and we're going to use it now, because after that we don't want to go ahead and go any further than that, because then it'll start smelling, and that means that it's no longer aerobic, or however you say it. It doesn't have air in it. It's anaerobic, meaning it has bad germs and stuff, and we want to have the good organisms that are living in there, and they're actually in there eating the molasses. It's sort of like a food to them, and it also increases the brick level, meaning the quality of the vegetables that you're growing. So let's go ahead and take a look at the garden. All right, here now. This here, and the reason why this garden, the mini garden, was created is because early along in the process, I got overzealous, and I created, I planted too many squash and zucchini plants. So to make room, I removed some of them and transplanted them into this garden. And since that idea came about, I just went with it, and I did everything. I have a combination of cucumbers, squash, I have petunias, I have pole beans, I have tomatoes up here, as well as jalapeno peppers and basil growing in these two up here. Those at the front are vinca flowers, and I have some strawberries that are hanging on here. We're going to see if the compost tea, if it can bring it back, but I already see a little bit of new growth right here. If you look a little closer, you can see since I put the tea on there, there's a little bit of new growth. And I'll go ahead and planted some pole beans on the inside there, and they look like they're coming through nicely. So I'll have to dig some of those and put them back into the soil a little deeper. But since then, I got a strawberry growing there, you see it, and it just needs a little bit of help. And also the pole beans are nicely going up that vine there, and so is this flower that I have here. It's going up the trellis right there, the TP trellis. This is my cucumber, and going up there with a couple of pole beans, and this is some squash, and we'll see how far along it's how it's going. It's about maybe a month old, not bad for a month's worth of growing. And I have a radish mixed in there too, and another vining not marigold, morning glory. MG, I just remember morning glory, marigolds. They're both flowers that I've planted in this garden, but these are new, so, and I grew those from seed. Hey, this is my daughter Ayana. She wanted to say hey. Hi, say hi to the camera. She's helping me out this morning. Thank you very much for your help, Ayana. I don't have my shovel with me, but I'll poke at it with this to see if we got some smoke brewing, or if I need to add something else to it to get it cooking. That condensation right here is a good indicator that it's been cooking. You know, so the cool pressure outside and the hot air in here causes moisture to accumulate. So Let's look in here and move some stuff around. Plenty of organisms in here. They're tearing this stuff up. This is one of them. But this one isn't smoking as much because it's about done. If you take a look at it, come on closer and look in there. It almost looks like soil. And all I've added in here is browns, which are your carbons, which is leaves and straw and things like that, even cardboard. And greens, which are plants. Coffee grains is actually a green that I've added in here. And them mixed with water and air creates compost. And I added also a little bit of rabbit manure to get it cooking and make the process take place a little faster. And also thank my husband Michael Lawson for helping me. He comes and turns it every 2 or 3 days. You have to really get in there and get good and get it stirred up, and I'm not that strong, so he helps me out with that. So thank you, baby, for helping me. So this is what I have going on compost pile number 1. We'll look at 2 as we go over through the garden. And since then, I added a compost yesterday, and this flower on this squash here fell off. And not squash, excuse me, okra. And we have a little okra thing growing. This is the first okra plant. These are a lot shorter than the other ones because these were planted first when we had a lot of rain taking place. And like I said earlier in the video, this is my first year gardening, so I had to learn along the way. So that's the reason why these plants over here have been, stunted a little bit, because I didn't give them the proper nutrition in the beginning that they needed to grow healthy. So I'm trying to nurture them as best as I can. So it's looking pretty well. I have the 2 zucchini plants right here, and that seems to be the squash back there. The leaves are a tad bit different. So they're getting a little bit more flourished and, more nutrition in them. So hopefully we'll be getting some female flowers on them soon. They've had flowers come on them before, but because of all the moisture that they've received and so much rain, they just have, they haven't been doing anything. So once the weather picks up and it gets warmer, we'll start seeing them produce. And I put a little tomato plant here. What I did is it's supposed to come just down here and hang down, but I thought, why not stick one at the top? Because what I'm trying to do is what they call interplanting. So interplanting is where you plant a lot of different things in a small area together, and you mix them in a way so that they both, or however the combination is, helps each other grow better. So that's why I have the pole beans right here with the squash. The tomatoes you would never put with the beans, but since they're not in the soil, it really doesn't matter. Isn't that pretty cool? And I have some corn growing back there. So that is a combination of the 3 sisters, the corn, the pole beans, and the squash, that they help each other grow better. The pole beans will be climbing up all of these trellises that I made with the potassium and I forgot the other, phosphorus mainly. I've been adding more phosphorus to the soil, so they're flourishing a little bit more and growing. Things that had almost died are growing. These were small. As you see, all of this is new growth here. Look at that. That's new growth, new growth. So they're coming along pretty nicely. Right here is the okra. And you see here we have some flowers about to start forming on these. These were planted almost a month after those were planted, and these are a whole lot nicer and healthier, and they're producing faster than the ones that I planted over there. So I'm very pleased at the growth of these, given the climate that they've been growing in. Has been very wet. It's rained almost to the whole summer, really. It's been raining since May. I didn't get to start planting until the end of May, and it was actually raining when I planted. So we've been working along. Thank God He's been giving us everything that we need. And I also, one change that I've made with the garden, the reason why it's not as soupy as it was in the beginning is because I've added a lot of worms to the garden. I bought them online. It's easy. You can just look them up. They're called red wigglers, and also earthworms. They're called night crawlers. I added those into the garden. The night crawlers, they go in and they dig tunnels, so they help with the drainage and help aerate the garden. So that's why I don't have any more water puddles in the garden anymore. And I'm able to stand here when just weeks ago this was just like mush. As you can see, the remnants of all the moisture left behind. So it's drying out a little bit more, and that's the reason why the plants are starting to grow a little bit better too. And as you remember in the other video, this is the sweet potatoes. They're growing very nicely. They're vining up, and I've wrapped them around so many times. As you see, they look like a little board here. So same thing with these. These are sweet potatoes here. They're vining up, so I'm going to have to work this one in so it can spin around too. Come a little closer so you can see this around this way. This way. Oh, well, while we're over here, we'll come over here. You stay right there. I'll do it. Thank you very much, Ayana. That was Ayana Lawson. Wave bye to the camera, Ayana.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for your help.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Well, I'm going to have to look at it with you.
Okay. All right. Well, right here is my worm bin that I created. It's a compost and a composting bin where I added a whole lot of red wiggler worms. And basically what they do is create what you call worm castings. And these worm castings are very nutritious to the soil. And as you see, look at there. All of these bugs. If I want to get rid of these, and that's the reason why I did that, I added watermelon, because these things love watermelon. And now I can just go like this and throw this whole hull away and get rid of a lot of these worms that fast. So now I need to add more food here so that the worms can have some food. But I'm just going to add it to one side so that they'll move to that side, and on the other side I can get the worm castings from underneath it. And this is the side that I did remove food from. Let's see if they've already moved over. Oh yeah, some of them are still over here. They're hanging in there. Hopefully they move over to this other side soon. Let's see if there are any worms on this side. Mainly just those things there. So we'll add some more food to the worm bin to get control of this stuff here. But we'll come back to this later, and I'll take care of this. This is a very rewarding but tough job and nasty job to maintain a worm bin. I don't like messing with stuff like this, but it's very beneficial to the garden. If it wasn't for that, this would have no interest in my life. So I had to get rid of these things here. But they've demolished this watermelon that I put in here just 2 days ago. It's almost gone. They've eaten it up. But it's almost just as much money to feed these things as it is a person. So let's go ahead and close this up. They like a dark, damp environment, sort of similar to the environment of the earth. So let's move on here. To our purple hull peas. Would you like to camcord for me? Thank you. They're at least 7 feet tall. I'm only 5'2", and they're good 2.5 feet taller than I am. So they're towering at 7, almost 8 feet long. And I've just been re-wrapping them around, because there's nothing else you can do with it. They're going to just keep growing. These are vine and purple hull peas. So they're wonderful. And look at there, you got some slugs in here. They love just lingering around in the garden. I come through with some neem oil and kill them. Basically, it's oil from a tree, and it just smothers them. They can't breathe. It's not poisonous. It's totally organic, but it's very beneficial to controlling pests in the garden that you don't want around. So these things that I have right here are just like a wild weed that was growing in my neighbor's yard. It was taller than her house, so I did her a favor by just ripping it down, and in return I used those big weed branches to create me a trellis, and it's at least 10 feet tall, so that's pretty neat. So win-win. Let's move on. But also in this area I have some okra, some more okra that's a little bit bigger in the front area because it's received more sunlight than the ones back there because of the trellis. But that's okay. They were just, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. This right here, I have a vining cucumber. We've actually eaten one cucumber off of this. It has a little bit of nutrition burn in it because I've been giving it more phosphorus so that it can start flowering, and I just had to put it on the soil only because it's too much to put on the plant itself. But right here I have a female flower that's opened up, and I pollinated it. I self-pollinated, but I don't think I really needed to. Look at that bee right there. Hey, mister. Okay. He wants to pollinate it too, so I left a little male flower pollinating thing on that leaf there, so I mean, it's not gonna hurt. I've already done it, but it won't help just for the bees to make sure that it's well pollinated. So we'll let him get busy doing what he's doing with the cucumber. But it's looking nice, and it's a vining cucumber. It's going to spread throughout this whole netting thing that I have, and so will the purple hull peas. They do the same thing. So that's the reason why I created this. I got an okra stuck right in the middle there, but it's all right. Let's move around this area. Excuse me. Oh, let's go over here real quick and look at the tomatoes. I got to figure out exactly why this tomato and this tomato are flourishing nicely, but these are a little bit on the small side. So what I did yesterday is I added some soil from my compost bins. As you see, it's unfinished kind of, but in the next couple weeks the worms and all the other parasites will come out here and finish composting this the rest of the way, and it'll just be nice healthy soil. So let's go back around this way. Look at the creek out there. There's all kind of stuff in there. This right here is some corn that's coming in and growing. Look at there. Look at this one right here. It's nice. And I have this one here. Look at that slug. I'm going to have to come out here. There we go. And get them because they're going to eat up the leaves if I let them stay there. Well, we do have an update. This is the first, well actually, is it on this one? Yeah, it was on this one. This is the first flowers to open up on the purple hull peas. So we have, they're beautiful, aren't they? Beautiful violet and white flowers on the purple hull peas. So they'll be flowering throughout the whole garden soon, and we'll be harvesting those in a week or two to come. So if you see here, they're all wrapping around here like crazy. And I snuck some pole beans in here too. So I'll just be picking them off like a little cherry tree in the next weeks to come. Green beans and purple hull peas, and I got corn growing. It's coming in slowly but surely on this end, but it's coming in. Back here I have some green beans that have been, they're flowering back again, and they got new growth. Like I said, snails came and ate all of the green leaves off of the green beans, because I used to have some squash here that they would terrorize and eat the leaves off of, and since I pulled those and moved them up there, they've started to mess with the green beans. For some reason, they don't like the pole beans, so that's a good thing. They love these blue lake green beans. They've torn them to pieces. But anyways, that is the gist of the garden. And we'll give you an update on how the compost tea works in about, let's say on Monday, we'll meet back and I'll show you exactly the changes that the compost tea has made. I'm expecting very nice results, so I'll let you know, so stay tuned. Thank you. This is Esther Lawson with God's Grace Garden, and Ayana Lawson on the camera. Thank you.
Bye.
For signing in with us. We love you, and God bless.